Unleashing Your Authentic Power, How Black Women's Stories Are Reshaping the World. Welcome to the Black Successful Women podcast. Today, I have the extraordinary privilege of sharing with you the groundbreaking insights I gained from interviewing Dr. Demisha Burns, a visionary leader whose work is not just transforming lives, but revolutionizing our understanding of personal growth, empowerment, and societal change. Dr. Burns is a beacon of hope and a catalyst for transformation, whose research and philosophy are reshaping the landscape of success for Black women and, by extension, for all of us. Imagine for a moment a world where the very essence of who you are, your struggles, your triumphs, your unique experiences, becomes your greatest superpower. A world where the story of your life isn't just acknowledged, but celebrated as the cornerstone of your success and a powerful force for change. This isn't a far-off utopia or a feel-good fantasy. It's the revolutionary perspective that Dr. Demisha Burns brings to the table. And it's about to challenge everything you think you know about success, identity, and what it means to be a Black woman in today's world. As I sat down with Dr. Burns, I was struck by her unwavering conviction that our individual stories, particularly those of Black women, are not just personal narratives, but powerful catalysts for transformation. She challenged me to consider a counterintuitive idea. What if the very things society has told us to downplay or hide are actually our greatest assets? What if conformity is actually holding us back? What if the key to unlocking our full potential lies not in fitting in, but in standing out? This isn't just another motivational speech or a call for self-acceptance. It's a paradigm shift that has the potential to revolutionize how we approach personal development, professional growth, and societal change. Dr. Burns' insights fly in the face of conventional wisdom, which often encourages us to fit into pre-existing molds or to separate our personal lives from our professional personas. So I invite you to challenge everything you think you know. Open your mind to the possibility that your unique experiences, your cultural heritage, and even your struggles are the very things that can propel you to heights you've never imagined. Because the insights I'm about to share with you aren't just thought-provoking, they're game-changing. Dr. Burns posits that our individual stories, particularly those of Black women, are not just personal anecdotes, but powerful tools for transformation. She argues that by embracing and sharing our authentic experiences, we can create ripples of change that extend far beyond our immediate circles. Consider this: in a world that often tries to put us in boxes, to categorize and limit us, what if our greatest act of rebellion and our surest path to success is to be unapologetically ourselves? What if the key to unlocking doors isn't about finding the right key, but about being the key? This isn't just about self-acceptance. It's about recognizing that our unique perspectives, shaped by our experiences as Black women, are invaluable in every sphere, from boardrooms to classrooms, from policymaking to creative endeavors. It's about understanding that our voices, our stories, our very presence can reshape narratives and redefine what's possible. But let's be clear, this isn't about putting on a mask of confidence or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about embracing every part of our journey, the triumphs and the trials, the joys and the pains. It's about recognizing that even our struggles have equipped us with resilience, insight, and empathy that are desperately needed in today's world. Dr. Burns challenges us to see our experiences not as baggage to be hidden, but as wisdom to be shared. She encourages us to view our challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and connection. In her words, every setback is a setup for a comeback. This perspective turns traditional notions of professional development on their head. Instead of trying to fit into a predetermined mold of what a successful person looks like, Dr. Burns advocates for bringing our whole selves to every situation. This means not just acknowledging our cultural background, our experiences as Black women, our unique perspectives, but celebrating them and using them as our secret weapons. Imagine walking into a meeting not worried about whether you'll fit in, but excited about how your unique viewpoint can contribute to the conversation. Imagine approaching challenges not with fear, but with the confidence that comes from knowing you've overcome obstacles before. Imagine building relationships not based on superficial commonalities, but on the genuine sharing of experiences and insights. This is the power of embracing your story. It's not just about self-empowerment, although that's certainly a crucial part of it. It's about recognizing that your experiences, your perspective, your voice are needed. The world needs the insights that only you can bring. But here's where it gets really interesting. Dr. Burns doesn't just stop at individual empowerment. She takes it a step further, arguing that when we embrace and share our stories, we create space for others to do the same. We build bridges of understanding. We challenge stereotypes. We reshape narratives. Think about it. How many times have you seen yourself truly represented in media, in leadership, in the stories that shape our culture? How often have you encountered a narrative that resonates with your experience as a Black woman? By sharing our stories, by stepping into our power, we're not just changing our own lives, we're changing the landscape for everyone who comes after us. This is where the personal becomes political, where individual growth becomes societal change, where embracing our stories becomes an act of revolution. But let's be real for a moment. This isn't easy. We live in a world that often tries to silence us, to make us smaller, to fit us into convenient categories. Embracing and sharing our stories requires courage. It requires vulnerability. It requires a willingness to go against the grain. And that's exactly why it's so powerful. Dr. Burns reminds us that every time we share our authentic experiences, every time we refuse to be silenced or sidelined, we're not just standing up for ourselves. We're standing up for every Black woman who has ever felt unseen, unheard, or undervalued. So how do we put this into practice? How do we move from understanding the power of our stories to actually harnessing that power in our daily lives? Dr. Burns offers 3 key insights. First, start with self-reflection. Take the time to really understand your own story. What experiences have shaped you? What challenges have you overcome? What unique perspectives do you bring to the table? This isn't about crafting a perfect narrative. It's about honestly acknowledging every part of your journey. Second, practice radical self-acceptance. This means embracing not just the parts of yourself that are easy to love, but also the parts that you've been taught to hide or downplay. Your accent, your hair, your body, your background, all of these are part of what makes you uniquely you and uniquely valuable. Third, look for opportunities to share your story. This doesn't mean you need to bare your soul to everyone you meet, but it does mean being willing to bring your authentic self to your interactions, your work, your relationships. It means speaking up when you have a different perspective to offer. It means mentoring others and creating spaces where other Black women can share their stories too. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually play out in the real world? Let me share a few examples from Dr. Burns' research and experience that illustrate the transformative power of embracing our authentic selves. Consider the story of Jasmine, a brilliant software engineer who grew up in a low-income neighborhood. For years, she tried to downplay her background, fearing it would make her seem less qualified or polished in the tech world. She spent countless hours trying to erase any trace of her accent, avoiding mentions of her childhood, and attempting to fit into the Silicon Valley mold. But everything changed when Jasmine decided to embrace her story. In a team meeting discussing a new app, she shared how her experience growing up with limited resources had made her incredibly resourceful and innovative. She explained how she had learned to code on a shared computer at the local library, developing workarounds and efficient coding practices out of necessity. Her colleagues were captivated. They realized that Jasmine's background gave her unique insights into creating accessible, resource-efficient software. Her story didn't make her less qualified. It made her invaluable. Jasmine's perspective led to the development of a groundbreaking app that worked efficiently on older, less powerful devices, opening up a whole new market for the company. But the impact didn't stop there. Jasmine's openness inspired other team members to share their own diverse experiences. The team dynamic shifted, becoming more collaborative and innovative. Jasmine was promoted to lead a new diversity and tech initiative, using her story to inspire and mentor other young people from underrepresented backgrounds. This is the power of embracing your authentic self. Jasmine didn't just change her own career trajectory. She changed her entire company's approach to innovation and diversity. Or let's take the case of Aisha, a young lawyer who had always been hesitant to wear her natural hair in court. She feared it would be seen as unprofessional or distracting. For years, she spent hours every morning straightening her hair, trying to conform to what she thought a professional lawyer should look like. One day, exhausted from the constant struggle and inspired by a conversation about authenticity, Aisha decided to wear her natural hair to court. She was terrified, but also felt a sense of liberation. As she presented her case, she realized she felt more confident, more herself than ever before. The impact was immediate and surprising. Not only did Aisha win her case, but several of her colleagues, both Black and non-Black, approached her afterwards. They commended her confidence and shared their own struggles with authenticity in the workplace. One senior partner, a Black woman who had always worn her hair straight, confided that seeing Aisha had inspired her to consider embracing her natural hair too. Aisha's act of self-acceptance sparked important conversations about diversity and representation in the legal field. She became a role model for other young Black lawyers and law students. More importantly, she found that being her authentic self made her a more effective advocate for her clients. She could relate to them better, and they in turn trusted her more. These stories illustrate a powerful truth. When we embrace our authentic selves, we don't just change our own lives, we change the world around us. We challenge stereotypes. We open doors. We create new possibilities. But here's the thing. This isn't just about individual success stories. Dr. Burns' research shows that organizations and communities that encourage authentic self-expression and value diverse perspectives are more innovative, more adaptable, and ultimately more successful. Think about it. In a world that's becoming increasingly complex and interconnected, We need diverse perspectives more than ever. We need leaders who can navigate different cultural contexts, who can empathize with a wide range of experiences, who can think outside the box, and who better to meet these needs than those of us who have spent our lives navigating multiple identities, overcoming obstacles, and forging our own paths. This is where the power of our stories becomes truly transformative. By embracing and sharing our experiences, we're not just empowering ourselves, we're reshaping the very definition of leadership, of success, of value in our society. But let's be clear, this isn't about putting the burden of change solely on our shoulders. It's about recognizing our power and using it strategically. It's about understanding that every time we show up as our authentic selves, every time we share our stories, we're creating ripples of change that extend far beyond us. Dr. Burns challenges us to think of ourselves not just as individuals trying to succeed in the world as it is, but as change makers actively shaping the world as it could be. She asks us to consider, what would our workplaces look like if they truly valued the experiences and perspectives of Black women? What would our education system look like if it recognized and celebrated diverse ways of knowing and learning? What would our media look like if it showcased the full richness and complexity of our stories? And most importantly, what role can each of us play in bringing that vision to life? This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where theory becomes action. This is where we move from talking about the power of our stories to actually wielding that power to create change. So I want to leave you with a challenge, a call to action inspired by Dr. Burns' groundbreaking work. It's time to step into your power, to embrace your story, and to use it as a force for change. First, I challenge you to engage in deep self-reflection. Take time this week to really examine your story. What experiences have shaped you? What challenges have you overcome? What unique perspectives do you bring to the table? Don't shy away from the difficult parts. They're often where our greatest strengths lie. Write it down, speak it out loud, share it with a trusted friend. Begin to see your story, not as a liability, but as your unique superpower. Second, I challenge you to bring more of your authentic self into your daily life. This week, find one opportunity each day to share a part of your story that you've been hiding. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting with a perspective shaped by your experiences. Maybe it's wearing your hair the way you really want to, not the way you think others expect. Maybe it's having a conversation with a colleague about your cultural background. Start small if you need to, but start. Notice how it feels to bring more of yourself to your interactions. Third, I challenge you to create space for other Black women to share their stories. Reach out to a colleague, a friend, a family member. Listen without judgment. Affirm their experiences. Help them see the unique value they bring to the table. By lifting each other up, we create a ripple effect of empowerment and change. As you take on these challenges, pay attention to what shifts. Notice how it feels to bring more of yourself to your daily life. Notice how others respond. Notice what new possibilities start to open up. Remember, this isn't just about personal growth. It's about sparking a movement. It's about creating a world where every Black woman feels empowered to bring her whole self to every situation, where our stories are not just heard, but valued and celebrated. In the words of Dr. Burns, your story is not just your own. It's a thread in the tapestry of our collective experience. When you embrace it, when you share it, You're not just changing your own life, you're changing the pattern for all of us. So let's rewrite the narrative. Let's challenge the status quo. Let's show the world the incredible power of Black women's stories. Because when we embrace our stories, when we show up as our authentic selves, we don't just change our own lives. We change the game for everyone. We reshape industries, redefine leadership, and recreate what's possible. Your story, with all its complexity, all its challenges, all its triumphs, is your superpower. It's time to unleash it. The world is waiting for the unique contribution that only you can make. Your voice, your perspective, your experiences are not just valuable. They're essential for creating the change we need to see in the world. So I challenge you, step into your power, embrace your story, use it to light the way for others. Because when you do, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the world. The time for hiding, for shrinking, for trying to fit into someone else's mold is over. The world needs your authentic voice, your unique perspective, your powerful story. It's time to stand tall, to speak up, to shine bright. You are not just a participant in this world. You are a creator. Your story has the power to inspire, to challenge, to transform. Use it. Share it. Let it be the catalyst for the change you want to see. Remember, every time you embrace your authentic self, every time you share your story, you're not just empowering yourself, you're empowering every Black woman who comes after you. You're reshaping narratives, breaking down barriers, and creating new possibilities. So go forth with courage, with confidence, with the knowledge that your story is your superpower. Use it wisely, use it often, and watch as it transforms not just your world, but the world around you. The future is waiting, and it's yours to shape. Your story starts now. What will you do with it?